What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Truth Will Set You Free, episode number 126. We got a good show today. I need you guys to share this out there. We're starting a little bit early, and technically we're 6 minutes late from what I said we were going to start, but you know what? Forget about it. It is what it is. Guys, we got some good topics. We're going to talk a little bit about James O'Keefe and Project Veritas, his official walking out of the office. Biden going to Ukraine, apparently took a wrong turn on his way to Ohio. We might cover whether or not Biden fell down those plane steps. And again, the purpose of this show, as Barb wanted to have it, which is perfect, is the truth will set you free. So we're going to be discussing the truths in media, including right-wing media. Biden signs over our health rights to the WHO. We're going to break that down, see the truth in that if we can. And I'm going to go ahead and show Governor Dewine and the EPA, one of the EPA administrators, drinking some water, some agua, out of the tap in Ohio. Did they really drink out of it? Did they sit? We'll see. We're going to play that in just a couple minutes. Welcome to The Truth Will Set You Free. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Episode 126 of Truth Will Set You Free. Right here, Truth Tuesdays. It's got a lot to talk about. Project Veritas is where we're going to start. We're going to go into Biden, go to Ukraine instead of Ohio. We've got a couple things to talk about on the show. And then we are going to end it a little bit early because we got a big call tonight with Great American Syndicate. Dave will tell you a little bit about that while he's telling you about our guest, Michael Burnoff. It is a free event. He's going to tell you. I'm going to put the link in the box. First off, it's going to benefit you, and we need your support at the same time. Please register and go. It is at 8 o'clock Eastern time, 7 o'clock Central, about 30, 45 minutes after we finish this show. It's great. Dave, tell them a little bit about that, and I'll go ahead and put it in the comments where to go.
Yeah, so right after this show, probably there'll be like a 20, 30-minute buffer right at 8 o'clock Eastern. If you guys can show up a few minutes early. We have a very special guest, a friend of mine, Michael Burnoff. He's been doing what he's been doing for a better part of probably over a decade. He's basically a communications coach. He gets people to take more action than they would normally take themselves. He gets you unstuck and into momentum so you can accomplish your goals at a high level. So it's all about communicating with yourself and influencing yourself so you could, get up and go to the gym. So you could start that business that you wanted to do or start that podcast or whatever it is, whatever goal that you have. Michael can help you get into momentum and stop the procrastination and get into action. And so he's really, really good at what he does. I've taken numerous of his trainings. I met Michael probably about 8 years ago at a real estate investing mastermind. One of my mentors, Kent Clothier, brought him in to speak with the group of investors there. And he made an instant impact in all of us. So he's the real deal. He has live events that pack 500-600 people in a live event, very Tony Robbins-esque. So if you guys want to be in for a really great treat and training from a high level person, join us at 8 o'clock tonight on Zoom. It's a free live Zoom call from the Great American Syndicate.
Yeah, all you got to do is register. This is stuff that, again, eventually will be for our $4.99 a month members. But for this one, we want a lot of people on the call. We need you guys. We're supporting you guys, but we also need your support because we want to show that we can pack the house a little bit on one of these Zooms for Michael, as he is somebody that has shared his network with us, so we could use all the help we can get on that. So,
yeah, and not only that, Anthony, he's going to be speaking at the Great American Summit as well. So he is totally our people, right? Yeah. So let that be said. He is our people as well. So it's just a great opportunity. We just want to give you guys lots of value, and rest assured, Michael will be bringing the heat at 8 o'clock.
Yeah. And we are live on Facebook, Nikki. I'm noticing our numbers are a little lower than usual. Don't know what story I shared earlier that they didn't like. Maybe it was Dave when he interrupted my call earlier. I'm just kidding. But yeah, guys,
Also
do
a
us a
different
favor, go
time.
and share this out. Let's see, what else do I got for you guys? Also, we've got some new shirts on the website. So as you can see, I'm wearing the Awake hat. We've got Awake Not Woke, but I wanted to share this one because a lot of you guys were forced to get something and you didn't want to get it, but we're going to go ahead and we added this one. As a lot of you guys know, we have the unvaccinated lives matter. We now have the vaccine injured lives matter. So this one's a fun one. Go ahead and check that out. Everything on the website is 15% off if you use Awake in the checkout area. And then, of course, we now have They Both Suck as well. So that's one of my new favorite ones. I'm waiting for that one in the mail. But yeah, go ahead and check out the Vaccine Injured Lives Matter. If you've got a family member that is on our path and goes, well, that's some BS, go ahead and hook them up with that. All right, guys, we're at like 40 viewers, which is way less than usual. So do us a favor, tell us where you're from in the comment area. See if we can re-trick that algorithm into joining us over here at Truth Will Set You Free. Let's go ahead and get into the first topic. We're talking Project Veritas. James O'Keefe, as of yesterday, had a 40-minute video, and he technically stepped away, explained why he did in it. There's a lot of people that are upset, including the likes of Grant Cardone. If you saw we got Chicago, North Carolina, got some cool spots, Midland in the house. Michigan. All right. So if you guys saw the video, if you saw that 40-minute video, go ahead and hit one, put one in the comment box so we can see that. Dave, did you watch that 40-minute video of his leaving, his quote unquote resignation?
Of him leaving? No, I did not.
What about you, Casey?
I haven't got through the whole thing.
It's actually really good. That's why I was running right before I went on here because I wanted to see, because I've heard some things about James. I've heard some very positive and I've heard some negative, and I was wondering if what was going on with James O'Keefe was maybe a soft landing for him, because it's one of the conversations I had regarded him possibly being a little bit too much with the ladies. And then I talked to somebody that used to work for Project Veritas that said that is absolutely not correct. So, maybe there's been a night where he was drinking or whatever. And either way, from what I have heard, is tough guy to work for, very passionate, kind of Michael Jobs-esque, but at the same time cares about his profession more than anything else. And after watching the 40-minute video of him leaving and his saying goodbye to Project Veritas, I could not be more on the O'Keefe bandwagon on that one. He was incredibly transparent. He talked about all the weirdness, and he never once said it, but he implied that there's some odd stuff with the timing of the largest story in the history of Project Veritas was 50 million plus views, exposing Pfizer, and less than a few days later, the board essentially asking staff for reasons to let him go. Pretty crazy stuff.
Yeah, I find it ridiculous, honestly, because if you look at how this whole process came about, and when word came out last week that this was happening, it was, oh, there were issues in the workplace. Oh, there was this. There was a whole bunch of employees that wrote a letter to the leadership of the company or the board. All of these rumors, no one came out clearly and said anything other than James O'Keefe. It took them, he forced their hand to actually start to come out and just release the real information. And so they clearly were doing this out of force, is the way that looks to me.
Yeah. I mean, I think the timing cannot be ignored on this one. I think that's an obvious. So, Dave, I mean, I think all of us are fans of quote unquote Project Veritas, but much like sports, sometimes we follow leaders instead of organizations. And I was a Brett Favre fan well before I was a Packers fan. I think this is very similar. This is something, and he had a very heartfelt message about 13 years ago when his house was being raided by the FBI and consistently put out there. The fact that there was nobody there for him, and he built this with his bare hands, essentially from the ground up. I find it very odd the way that they released him at that time. Do you have any thoughts regarding this?
It doesn't add up, that's for sure. I mean, there was some rumblings about it, a couple of weeks ago. Then everyone's like, oh, it's not true. He's not going anywhere. And then all of a sudden, he's like gone, like instantly. So, yeah, it's quite interesting that the biggest story, not only the biggest story, but the biggest story that happened to be around Pfizer, who just made record profits. So you have to question, is that power and that profit center influencing the board members, or did they, get a hold of the board members to kind of make this decision? Again, I'm a firm believer that the marketplace will fix this, will correct it. You're already seeing it. They've lost, hundreds of thousands of followers. Their fundraising capacity has like dropped through the basement. And someone like James O'Keefe, he's the founder of Project Veritas. So you know what? I would be like, F you, I'm gonna go do this anyway on my own. Like, that's exactly what he's gonna do. He's just gonna pivot, and he's gonna have all the support that he needs. He'll probably actually have a better program and even more support than he's had over the last couple of years. So that's what I hope to see, because the work that he does is super important.
Yeah, I think we will see the same thing. I is what you're saying. I think he actually will come out bigger than what he was with Project Veritas. I don't know what he's going to do with the name or any of that, but I think he's going to come out of this bigger. Like, for a funding standpoint, you have Grant Cardone being like, "Give me my money back.
Yeah,
I donated because of him. Give me my money back." And there's a lot of people demanding that Project Veritas refund the
you
money.
don't think if Grant Cardone gets that money back that he's just going to turn around and give it to James O'Keefe?
Yes, he is.
Oh, I bet he doubles it and gives it to James O'Keefe just to run with it. Yeah,
look who it is.
I have a friend who is more like a father to me, and he's been in the ICU, and that was them calling from the hospital. So I get an excuse to hop off that call.
All good. Well,
Yeah.
the room looks a little bit brighter now. So the other thing, so I listened to all of it, I watched all of it, and some of the things that were very interesting to me was the fact that they essentially told him that he had to take a leave of absence for 2 weeks, and there's documentation of this. He had to leave while they figured stuff out, and then they blamed him for not responding to his team, and he's got the receipts. Like, how would you not think that James O'Keefe is going to be very meticulous about everything happening to him? So there's receipts that they told him that he needed to be out of the to be completely not talking to donors, not talking to whatever, and then they blamed him for a lack of communication. And then there was some other stuff where they were essentially bribing employees with potential raises to essentially flip on James O'Keefe, which is very odd. One of the people that they actually looked at, I mean, there's just so much contradiction. There's even donors that they used that the donor complained that she was misrepresented in their claim against James O'Keefe. There's so many things really fishy about this. And ultimately, at the end of the day, the job of a board of a business is to keep a business together. And they knew what they were doing when they imploded this. And it's very odd. Like, if you want to cover up something for a key figure like James O'Keefe, you do what you can until it's too much. That's just the way business works. But this was literally the first chance they could get after the biggest story they've had. They looked for every way to sabotage this company known to mankind. And it is very confusing. He talked a lot about the black cars. He's like, I don't know why they care what color it is. But I know that just means it's a more expensive Uber ride. But at the same time, when you're taking these massive meetings and you're spending an extra $15, $20 or $30 for a black car, is that really your concern? And then the party, or they said wedding that he was a part of, that he used Project Veritas funds for. He was very clear. He's never been married. He's never had a wedding. There was a fake wedding at their employee holiday party, their Christmas party. That the Christmas party was a Project Veritas Christmas party that cost $12,000, which was half of the amount of this year's party. And at that, there was a joke wedding with somebody that was actually clearly in the room. They had fun with it. It was just a joke and part of the Christmas party. And that was what they were talking about, some fake wedding. And then the music video, which was all a joke, that was shot for approximately $12,000. So the misappropriation of funds, all of it is so confusing. And it lends me to the question of, is Pfizer that powerful?
Yes. And I'll give you another example, and it involves medical companies and Pfizer. But when you start looking at some of these things, you have the same scenario with the news being controlled by Pfizer, right? But the example that I'm talking about, look at what NBC did with Paul Pelosi's story. It was the same thing. It was a disaster up front. It was never clear. They even fired a guy that got the clarity and the information and released the video, and then NBC retracted it and removed it. And so there is, in all of these big companies, there is corruption. There are evil people that want to control it. And unfortunately, Pfizer is the one that is going to be a powerful one to mess with right now. And unfortunately, in my mind, I think they need to go, but that would impact a lot of people's lives and really bring down the country.
I think it's absolutely insane and ridiculous. But we'll see. We'll see what James O'Keefe goes. I feel like he'd be really great on a show called Truth Will Set You Free. It fits his brand. I think that'd be fantastic.
Yeah, it's either coincidence or they were bribed or they were blackmailed, right? It was one of the three.
Yeah. I just
Agreed.
It's crazy. All right. I find it odd that we're at such a low viewer count. Anyway,
Could be because I'm banned from advertising on Facebook and my account's restricted for another 30 days. So maybe they don't like restricted people being on lives. I don't know.
Yeah, you got a facial recognition. Anyways, let's go to topic number 2. Biden goes to Ukraine instead of Ohio. Let's go. You know what? Let's go right into Ohio. I'm going to go ahead and share this quick video on Fox. Fox did a bang up job on this one. Let's see. Let me find it. Where did I put it? Right there. Carry the 1, carry the 3.
And 2 stars.
Make it bad. It's going to make me do this. Let's see if I can pop it up. All right. Let's see if this works.
Absolutely.
Did someone want to drink the water?
Absolutely.
We
will. You can serve us up a glass of water.
So awkward.
The glass is right behind you.
So that's EPA Administrator Michael Reagan and Ohio Governor Mike Dewine, and I think somebody else. The tap water, which they don't actually buy from well water or city water. This 2-minute clip is one of the creepiest things you've ever seen.
Right.
Yum.
All right, is this well water?
They didn't say it.
That's a huge difference.
Huge.
Guinea pig, but we don't mind proving to you that we believe the water.
Okay.
Here's to
I
Caroline.
appreciate that.
Here's to you.
Thank you so much.
Do it for the photo op.
Really cold coming from that.
It's just cringe.
Governor Dewine already put his water glass down to be very clear.
My water, but same
Watch them hone in
Well, I think
on Michael Reagan's glass.
peace of mind is what we have to continue to.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for that. Yes.
It's very understandable why you'd be worried. People are worried.
Yes.
So the
Thank you.
physical cleanup, I just checked with my head of.
Look at how small the sips are that they take, and the glass is down.
Taking a lot of soil out. And,
Watch this.
taking water out as well. So it's a slow process, but
Yes.
there's a lot of people here doing it. A lot of people who are focused on it.
He didn't take one sip, did he?
Took one sip.
Yeah, but it will continue.
It will. No stone will be left unturned.
And put it back down on the table. No stone will be left
Testing
unturned.
of my house with somebody that tested.
You can't make that stuff up. Like how, like that. The I don't like the word cringe, but that was the definition of cringe. Like them talking about it, and if it was hard to hear, but Governor Dewine, who I think has done an absolutely terrible job. You can hear him talking about the fact we've tested about half the soil samples. They never mention, like you said, Dave, whether or not it's well water or city tap water that they've put through a filtration process. There's a lot of people in that town with well water, and they legit don't even drink more than they don't even drink more than 2 sips of water at best. And then they set their glass down and they think this is them showing that you can drink the water. We don't think that the water is battery acid and it's going to kill you on the first sip. Take a whole glass or 2 and feel completely comfortable. Call me tomorrow. Tell me about that, because every one of the residents that they have put on TV out there is suffering from bloody noses, migraines, all of the different random things that they don't typically battle, because whatever is in the air is now is permanently there for a period of time, and it's traveling to even places like New York City.
Yeah. Yeah, and unless you live in the village or like the city area, you are absolutely on well water. It's just how we are in New York, Pennsylvania, Ohio, the same way. Once you start getting out there in the countryside, which is where a lot of this is, you're on well water. So there's probably tens and tens of thousands of wells out there that they don't know, they haven't tested. So it's interesting.
And it's suspect the fact that he even said in the Governor Dewine said, he goes, we've tested about half the soil. Like, we're still going, if you've only tested half, you got some balls to be willing to drink the water. Oh, wait, you really didn't have the balls. You literally just sipped 2 little bits in your mouth, and it probably wasn't even well water whatsoever. The way that they smokescreen the American people on this is mind-boggling. Governor Dewine, by the way, Republican, I don't care. He should be ashamed of himself. He should be there's no way that the state of Ohio should vote him back in. And there's also no way the state of Ohio, based on what the federal government has done, should even consider a Democrat for president for a long time. Like, this is disgusting what they have done to this state. It's terrible. Like, and you're seeing what Biden has done by going to Ukraine and talking about how much he stands behind them and how much money he's willing to give them and all the things with that trip. And it's just like, really though? Really? Did you see his speech today at the, well, it was I guess either last night or tonight in Ukraine, but it was live today. If it's a war zone, Dave, I'm going to ask you the question. Why would you put 10,000 adoring Ukrainians and American sympathizer, whatever you want to call it, in one place with lights, cameras, everything right at the Capitol? It's literally fish in a barrel. And they just decided to make this a gigantic party, bringing Biden out for what was a rally speech, which he had more attendance there than he's ever had at any of his in the United States of America.
You mean in Poland?
Was he? I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Poland.
today he was in Poland.
He was in the capital of Poland. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Well, first off, when has a president ever visited a war zone that American troops were not a part of?
Good question.
Well, we're funding it, so we're somewhat a part of it.
Our troops are not there, and the president went out of his way to visit a place that is being bombarded in a war. Like, talk about reckless and dangerous and irresponsible. Can you imagine if some stray missile like that happened to, like, was supposed to hit in Ukraine, or the Ukrainian missile that hit in Poland? Can you imagine something like that happened and hit in Kiev and killed the president? Like, it'd be literally game over. The fact that he was there, like, they didn't have control over the air. Like, that could have happened. And the fact that he put himself in that position, I mean, I wouldn't call it, a lot of people are saying, oh, it's so gutsy of the president. I'm like, no, it's irresponsible and stupid and reckless. And then, then you have the Ohio thing on top of it. Like, and then the whole propaganda piece with the sirens going off when there was no sirens for 5 days before. Even a CNN journalist said that he's been there for 5 days, didn't hear any air sirens go off. The minute Biden steps foot in Kiev, the sirens sound. So all propaganda, all BS. Let's not forget that Zelensky is an actor.
Yes. Well, and Zelensky was put in place, right? He didn't even go through the whole process, and it was kind of just put in place for a president. The thing that's also interesting with all of this is these are following the same patterns of the Obama era presidency. We had similar patterns. Like, you had Flint, Michigan water issues. You had Obama trying to pick fights with a whole bunch of other countries. And now we're not picking a fight. We're just funding another fight is all we're doing. And it's getting really ridiculous that we're just allowing this to happen. And a lot of these people are, especially the Democratic people, are just, well, he's better than Trump. Well, I don't understand how you came to that conclusion at this point.
Yeah. Like Dave brought up, when they did the photo op, it was so ridiculous. It was CNN that had the coverage talking about the fact there was no sirens for 5 days leading up to this. And it just so happened to be perfect timing that when he is walking out with Zelensky, the air raid sirens are going off. And by the way, if the air raid sirens are going to go off when the president of the United States walks out, wouldn't you want to pull him back inside?
Yeah, Secret Service should pull him to safety, right?
Yeah. Although he's probably safer there than like walking up and down the stairs onto Air Force One or wandering around an Easter egg hunt without the Easter bunny to chaperone him back, so
Or riding a bike.
or riding his bike.
Facts.
So, it's everything is relative. Right?
So let's talk about that, the stairway incident. For those of you who don't see it, you can find it. Just do President Biden falls down the stairs on Air Force
Was that
One.
really him?
I don't believe it is. It's the purpose of this show is trying to get to the bottom of it. There is no distinguishable evidence. There is also rumors that he was actually not even on that flight.
Right.
And when I like to use logic, this is what I would say. If somebody is frail and feeble as Joe Biden, and this is not including those that believe in the body double thing and the 2 different earlobes and the Pompeo pineapple underneath the sea. For those that don't believe this, that just believe that there is just Joe Biden, there is no way that man would have fallen that hard and gotten up and been okay the next day. Plain and simple. There's just
I know he fell pretty hard on that bike and he got back up. So, he might be used to falling down and getting back up.
That was just a leaning bike, Dave.
What I'm waiting for is when he falls down and he says, "What's that commercial? I'm falling and I can't get up."
Life alert. There's like a 15-foot difference. Like he fell down those stairs, and the pace that you see those people falling down those stairs
that fell down those stairs
quite a bit.
Today.
I know. Where's the other camera angle? Like that's what we need.
Well, that's the weird thing. There's another camera angle after. Do they just start shooting after the fall? It just feels very weird. Like again, this is a don't take the bait situation in my personal opinion. I want to give Kim Whitaker a shout out. Thank you very much. Appreciate you very much. Kim, take that $50 and know that you earned the free spot in tonight's thing with Michael Burnoff. So make sure you register for that. Do that favor for us, Kim. All right. So, and I just put that in the comment box. So I'm going to go ahead and say, well, I'll take a little vote. And if anybody saw the clip, if you think that it was not Joe Biden falling down the stairs, raise your hand. Yeah, I don't think
it was not him.
I wish it was.
Now you just got us banned for hate speech.
See, that's why you get us in trouble.
That's why we can't have nice
Well,
things.
look, we were talking before the call that statistically, if this was based on statistics, anyone who was on that plane on Air Force One, statistically, he would be the one more likely to fall down those steps than anyone else, based on his age and his past history of such occasions and events.
Yeah.
Just saying.
I don't even know if he could build up that much speed. Like he'd be dead. Like I've fallen down the stairs really fast because I'm moving very fast. He's never moving even fast enough to get that much momentum.
Yeah, but when you shuffle like that, you're more prone to tripping and falling down.
And look,
he built up the electric static current.
Who we bought the house from.
Right.
So we bought a house from somebody who from the estate of somebody who fell down our basement steps and died in our basement. So, falling down steps is no laughing matter, really.
Yeah.
It's like you're smiling and you're laughing. All right. By the way, so when I brought up the whole thing about Biden going to the Ukraine and then doing the photo op and the fact that it's just awkward because he's really just doing that with the air sirens and the photo op and talking about how he's giving them all this money. I had a troll literally talk about the fact that he goes, well, this is the same as Trump going to North Korea.
Yeah, it's exactly the freaking same. Exactly the same. Oh goodness! Don't even engage those people. There is literally no value to be had. And if you're gonna engage, then you deserve whatever waste of time suck you fall into.
It's helping my algorithm. Okay, Barb.
All right. It bumps up your algorithm. Great. I guess so. But
you're not influencers like Dave and I, Barb. You just
this is true. I am not an influencer in the least.
Yeah, neither am I. We're all influencers. We're influencing right now on this call.
Exactly. We are influencing on this call.
I did, of course, take the bait, and I responded with basic logic of why they're different. One, we're funding Ukraine to an just egregious amount, and to North Korea, it was a show of diplomacy, which was meant to be a photo op, and it was to show that two nuclear powers can actually do something that no president of the United States has done in 50 years. His response: I don't expect you to understand or see this because of the way that your viewpoint comes from a place of racism.
Oh my God.
Typical.
You could tie, if you're able to tie my logic on why they're so just absolutely different to being racist. This is why we are where we are. This is amazing.
Yes, there are people. Dave's daughter, I don't know if you knew this. She dyed her hair red, and she had a girl in school tell her hair is racist.
Because
Like,
it's what, like, it
literally.
looks
I
like a
did not know that.
Yes, literally said that her hair is racist.
Oh my god.
Did she spray paint "Make America Great Again" in the actual hair?
Oh boy,
That'd be
yeah,
awesome.
that's what she said. It's a racist hair.
All right, so let's go to Biden
had-
signing
oh,
over his there's the article, and I love Epic Times. I will say lately they have become a little bit more Newsmaxy instead of Epic. Epic Times to me has always been just perfect to utilize in order for real facts, but this one to me I have some questions. So there is the article is Republicans push back against the accord giving WHO power over the U.S. pandemic response. There's a lot of people speaking out saying that the WHO has given Biden has given the WHO the ability to make decisions for the United States of America in terms of a pandemic. It is a draft, the draft, which it still sounds like it's coming from Biden. This does not mean that it'll happen because it does require, as Dave said before the call, congressional approval. But it says the draft accord, which would be legally binding on all 194 member nations. Again, this is a draft by multiple countries involved in the WHO, gives the WHO the authority to declare pandemics and submits member countries to the central role of the WHO as the directing and coordinating authority on international health work in areas like lockdowns, treatment, medical supply chains, surveillance, and disinformation and false news once a pandemic is declared. 17 U.S. senators led by Ron Johnson introduced the No WHO Pandemic Preparedness Treaty Without Senate Approval Act. So there is some confusion in our Congress on whether or not it can be done with or without approval. Ultimately, at the end of the day, our Constitution still upholds the fact that it is a states' rights situation, even if the federal government wants to bend us over and sacrifice us to the WHO. But please don't think that Joe Biden went over there, signed something, and we are now under the control of the WHO. That is a little bit short-sighted at this point.
Correct.
That's all I got on that one.
Sorry.
Well, look, it's just a little concerning that it's even like a draft, right? Like that it's even under consideration.
Right,
like
that
that's
somebody even put that on paper
right,
and put it forth
yeah.
as if it could actually happen.
Yeah, so
Right,
it's a
it
little
is.
concerning, but I'm not gonna really concern myself with it, and I think there's plenty more than there's just more people who would fight something like that than not fight something like that. So I don't think that'll ever happen.
Yeah, I don't think so either. But it is interesting that that's even a consideration that they're trying to do that, because just imagine if we would have, I mean, we followed a lot of the WHO stuff, but imagine if they were fully in charge of the way that small town Missouri handles the pandemic. Like, that's absurd. And that's so unconstitutional.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Look, even if they handled the pandemic perfectly, like they got all the information they wanted to get out of China, there was full transparency, they were against lockdowns, they actually followed the science. Even if they did all the right things, I would be like, no.
Yeah.
Right? And in this instance, they did all the wrong things. And so we should all be like, hell no.
Yeah. I mean, it's sick that it's even there, but it is. Yeah. Barb felt that one.
Not gonna say it.
Thank God that your voice sounds like that. Otherwise, we might get a ding from the rights to the song. All right. Last but not least, let's unless there's we have a little bit more time for questions. Again, we're keeping this one short because of the call with Michael Burnoff, which I encourage everybody to be a part of. And I just put that again in the chat. Make sure you check it out. Illinois got drunk with power. Yeah, sure. All right. Let's go to real quick. I'm going to add a little bit on Don Lemon. If anybody saw the clip talking, I saw the aftermath and the apology, and I was like, I mean, what is he really talking about? Is he talking about women in sports? Like they're past their prime at Nikki Haley's age? I'm like, that's accurate, because that's how he presented his apology. Turns out he was literally just saying that Nikki Haley is past her prime for anything, because women are past their prime at the age of 20s to early 30s, which is hilarious, because they were and the women at The View had Don Lemon's back, which is even funnier. These old biddies at The View are like, women are past their, she shouldn't be calling out old men. Can you imagine if it was like AOC at the age of 50 saying that about old men, and they'd be like, those old white men need to get out of there. It's just such a hypocritical load of bullshit.
Yeah, Whoopi was like, "Of course I'm past my time. Look at me, I'm a Chinese spy balloon."
She does have that white outfit.
That joke, all right,
I
that
thought
went
it was
downhill.
good. I thought it was pretty good. I showed
Thanks,
it. So
Anthony.
funny.
I tried.
So funny story. Funny
So
story.
sad,
I wore my. I think I told Barb this on the on our group call the other day. Maybe not. But I hosted an event. It was the Revolutionary War party for homeschool teachers. Party like it's 1776 type thing. Anyways, I came out at one point wearing a black garbage bag. And I simply said, I missed the memo. I thought that this was a Revolutionary War party, and I was just being the Netflix adaptation of the Chinese spy balloon, because that's heading us to a
You
revolution.
guys are hilarious.
Hilarious.
This is the wittiest.
I think I nailed the timing on it, which made it a little bit better. So,
Yeah.
what
What are you trying to say, Anthony?
No, you know, I thought you did a good job. I was laughing. Barb
Right.
doesn't.
Goodness, you guys.
She doesn't understand
Oh,
locker
help
room
me,
humor.
Casey, help me.
I'm on camera. I was laughing too. So
Oh, God. We need
Penises
some
for the win.
menstrual meat in here with me.
Well, that's the point. Like to Barb's point. Like,
Oh, what is the point?
well,
Dave
not that
Brown?
point, but
What
like,
is the point, Dave Brown?
where are the women activists? Where are the
Yeah.
women's rights people? The women's movement, like the same people that are allowing men to compete in women's sports. Now women are past their prime at 51. Like, where is all these people that were wearing?
They're on the View
vagina
saying
hats
it's no
5
big deal
years
if it's a
ago?
Republican saying it. That's where they are. They're on the View saying it's no big deal when a
Where are they?
Republican
They're all
says
on the View. Good point.
or when a Democrat says it. Yeah, all the
Yeah.
old biddies are on the View.
Crazy. And if she's past her prime, I mean, they just elected this freaking elderly man trying to be president in the White House.
And somebody that is currently unable to serve in Pennsylvania. Like,
Right.
did you see? There is now a I think LPGA or up and coming golfer that literally had just competed in a men's contest like several weeks before, and is now competing on the. It's either LPGA or like the circuit on the way there, and it's like, really, no. It's proving the point that there is a difference between everybody should accept things and then celebrate things, and there's a difference, and that's plain and simple where it's at. Amy says she's 65, not past her prime yet. So yeah, that's the Don Lemon story. Do you guys have any other news? Anybody got any questions about what's going on in the media? Because I mean, we've been paying attention. This is a light show for us because we're getting ready for the other show. Anybody else got anything else?
So back to the Ukrainian thing, Joe Biden today, when he was in Poland, he said that Americans across the country are flying Ukrainian flags on their doors, on their front stoops, whatever. So I would have a question to everyone who's watching. I'd like to know if you're flying a Ukrainian flag outside your door, or if you were to fly any flag, which flag would you be flying, or which flag are you flying?
I can tell you from my time being downtown during the All-Star game this weekend and in Salt Lake, there is a lot of Ukrainian flags, Black Lives Matter flags, and LGBTQ flags, but not very many American flags.
Interesting.
Jeez. I did get a little chuckle over, and this is not mine, so it's nothing personal if you don't think it's funny. I thought it was funny when one of the first memes that came out was, did you guys see it about putting if they flew a Ukrainian flag in Ohio, would Biden then show up there
Right.
and give them aid, right? And it's like, it's funny because it's not funny, but like, it's funny because it's true, but it's pathetic. It's ridiculous. The whole thing just gets more and more absurd every freaking week. And it's like Nikki Haley said, you're like, hold my beer, like, it's like, it just gets dumber. We get dumber as a society. And I'm almost feeling like instead of doing anything we're doing, we should just continually go out there and make time capsules and recordings and books and just apologize to future generations and assure them that we were not all as fucking stupid as the people that are front and foremost in society and in the public eye, because I think we're just the laughingstock of all eternity on the entire timeline of human civilization. I think we are the biggest laughingstock that humanity has ever been right now. That's
Speaking of hold my beer, I don't know if you guys saw, now that we're continuing to put our fists up Zelensky's asshole in a way that he actually wants it. Did you guys see Russia and China today have been kind of discussing banding together? Right now, Russia is beholden to China based on the way that they're the only ones helping them from a financial standpoint. Meanwhile, you've got what am I thinking of? Russia talking today, specifically calling out. First, they said there are countries that are aiding Ukraine that is essentially forcing us into a bigger war. And then they specifically called out the United States. He goes, you know what? Let me just say it. The United States of America, based on what they're doing, is making this war even bigger. Do you think right now our involvement has made this worse for the Ukrainian people?
Yes. And the reason why I say that is Russia would have been able to blow apart that country already.
I thought so too. I find it interesting because people forget, and it was not very well covered, that in April of last year, there was the opportunity for a ceasefire, but the UK, United States of America, and I keep saying I believe, but I believe it was France, essentially talked them out of giving up any territory to Russia. And there was the Donbas region was on the table, and that was the way that it was, and ended up going away. They want this war. There's no way you can't look at it, the fact that our countries and Zelensky wants this war. This continues a distraction from how shitty things have gone in the United States of America. We're still forgetting that FTX was, that all came down just about a month and a half, 2 months ago, where there was evidence of money laundering through Ukraine. And it's like, it just doesn't happen. It's mind boggling. I've got one more question for you guys with Nikki Haley. I used to like Nikki Haley. I liked, her speaking and what she stood for. It seemed like, and there was a lot of people that a couple of years ago, I remember saying, I wish Nikki Haley would be VP to Trump and these different things. And educate me. Why do people on the right all of a sudden hate Nikki Haley so much? Why is she considered a rhino? I'm dead curious, because I did not know that she lost the love of the people.
I don't think she has. I think that's just the smaller, maybe fringe element, full on Trump supporter without just all Trump. Like there's no ifs, ands, and buts. It's him, right? I think those people are the ones that are giving that legs and making that a thing when it really isn't a thing. I think the majority of conservatives, I think Republicans, actually like her.
That's what I thought. When I posted about her running, I just got a lot of comments of rhino, can't stand her. She doesn't care about the American people. She's a Democrat and design.
I like her. I don't like her position on Ukraine. I don't like the fact that at her fundraising event last week that she made everyone prove vaccination status.
She did.
Yeah.
Was that last week?
She's out.
Yeah. I don't know if it was.
Show me your papers.
It might have not been her decision. It could have been someone else's private event that had her that required that. I don't know, but either way, like those are like baselines that you need to say no.
I thought that was again, I don't know.
I just but I saw it and I was like, isn't that interesting? So I don't,
Yeah.
But I still like her. Everyone has their own individual policies and thoughts. Like we're not going to agree with everybody on everything,
right?
But she's a well-spoken. She's served her country. She was a governor. She was the ambassador to the United Nations. Like she knows her shit. Like she would be a great female president. She just would. Great president. She doesn't even have to be female. But the fact that she can break the glass ceiling, I'd rather her break it than anyone else that we've seen so far. That's for sure.
I'd be more team Tulsi, but I don't want her to be president. I want her to be VP personally.
The reason why people are hating on her, in my opinion, is because of she didn't turn on Trump. She just was outspoken against some of the things he did and some of the ways he did things. It's the same reason why people call me a Democrat or a liberal when I disagree with what Trump did. They are turning on her because she is supposed to be a Republican and standing by Republicans. Well, Republicans doesn't mean you align everything perfectly. Yeah, everybody has the same mentality. We're
not liberals.
No. And so January 6th was kind of the turning point. She kind of threw Trump under the bus by saying he should have worded things better. He should have done this better on January 6th. When, in my opinion, I think he did everything he was supposed to do on January 6th.
Yeah.
But that's why, in my opinion, why I think Haley's getting so much flack from the Conservative Party.
But there's also the rumor that she actually went to Trump and told her that she wants to run, and she asked for his blessing. And he's like, if it's in your heart and you feel you want to do it, go do it. So I find that interesting too. Like that's respect, right? Like that's,
The ladies at The View said that she uses her skin color to propagate white supremacy on those that have brown skin. I was like, all right, I still gotta like her then. If the View ladies are gonna talk shit about you, it means I like you. I
these
don't.
people are literally out of their minds.
I will say I like her. I don't know if she'd be my pick, but I don't think she's this gigantic rhino in disguise, to be
No,
totally
I
honest.
agree.
Well, and remember, all of these people that are putting their names in the hat to run, they know they're not going to become president. They just hope for a job on the cabinet or in the administration somewhere. So that's the whole reason why you see
I
all
think
these things.
DeSantis has a shot, but again, Trump's already done a great job besmirching his reputation too. I liked what Nikki
I
said
don't think
today.
you think he's done a great job. I think he's done a terrible job. I think every time he makes a tweet or something or uses the word Ron sanctimonious, whatever, it just hurts Trump.
No, I
Like,
think it hurts. I think it hurts
Yeah.
the Republican Party.
thank goodness he's not on Twitter, because he's only doing this on Truth, where his core base is. But if he was posting this garbage on Twitter, he would be getting annihilated.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I agree. When I say a great job, I mean a great job making it very. Because again, he's galvanized his base against Ron DeSantis.
Yeah, but it's not. It's actually not. It's not smart.
I agree. I'm just saying what he's done is the typical Trump thing, which is again why I think it's a shitty outlook on it. But the last thing is Nikki Haley did a good job, pretty much just saying I'm not running against Trump. I'm running against Joe Biden, even in my primary. So we'll see if she stands by that. So that's all I got, guys. Before we do our final goodbyes, I am going to ask this of you right now, and then when we get off, I'm going to go ahead and put this in the comments. If you guys can make it tonight, and you're going to go to this free webinar with Michael Burnoff.
Yeah, 10 minutes to 8.
It's hop in about 30 minutes or a little less than that, 25 minutes. It is free. You just got to register. If you guys can come, you're helping us out. And it is also a free thing from somebody that charges a decent amount of money to give trainings. So press 1 in the box and then copy that link so that you can have it right when we get off. That's how you're going to register for today's link. We want at least 50 people on there. So help us out. Go ahead and put that copy, paste. So 1, if you're going to go, do us a huge favor on that side. And again,
yeah, not only that, like help yourself out. Like if you are stuck in something, if you're procrastinating right now, you had this thing that you wanted to do, you wanted to lose weight, you had these New Year resolutions that you haven't even started yet. You have goals for the year that you want to accomplish, and you're feeling stuck, you're feeling overwhelmed, you're sabotaging yourself because you're constantly looking for distractions. Get on this call, because Michael can absolutely help you.
In 1 hour, I mean, I just was at a conference in St. Louis, and I was speaking at it, but there was 20 speakers with these amazing stories, and each one of them had impacts. We had Scott, one of our followers, actually from St. Louis, came and watched, and he had a ton of impact from it. So you don't know what an hour can literally do to truly change just an outlook, whether it's for the next week or next month or the rest of the year. You never know what you're going to hear that's going to change. Again, it is free. Amy is stuck in snow. So go ahead. I know that I got a couple ones in there. Keep doing us a favor and jump on this call. Do us a favor and do yourself a favor and help us out with that. That is what I've got for the gear as usual. And again, we now have the vaccinated injured lives matter shirt. So check that out. Thank you, Kim. Appreciate you, Rhonda. Awesome. We'll see you guys there. Check that out at awakenotwokestore.com. And what else? Last but not least, I know a lot of you guys order from my guy, Dr. Brian Artis. Go to thedrartisshow.com, BFD at checkout. He's got a whole thing that he's got run through for getting rid of long COVID. He's got getting stuff flushed out of the system with the jibbity jab, and also some stuff for prevention. I, of course, do the Doc's Viral Defense, and I've been traveling and stay not sick a bunch. So check that out with the selenium. If he's got any glutathione supplements, check that out. So make sure you go there. Again, that's thedrartisshow.com, BFD at checkout for 10% off. And obviously it gives us that credit too. Final words from Casey. What do you got?
Stay away from the All-Star game, then you won't get sick. But pay attention to what's going on locally. Like, we're wrapping up our legislative session here in Utah, which we only run 45 days out of the year. Some of your states are 180 or more. But we had a good one this year. We knocked out a lot of good things. And surprisingly, even though most of us don't like our governor being a rhino, is what they call him, he actually stood by a lot of the good bills, which was interesting. I'm hoping more of that is going to keep going and do the same in your states.
Not all rhinos are created equally. Like I think McCarthy's done a really good job at speakers so far too, as well. So
Don't get too excited. It's only been a little bit.
well, he's got a lot done quick, so we'll see if he can keep it up. Dave, what's your final words, buddy?
Just join us at 8 o'clock. Come back on Zoom in about 30 minutes and join us for an awesome call with my friend Michael Burnoff. You're going to enjoy it. So trust me. You can thank me later.
Trust Dave Brown. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been episode 126 of Truth Will Set You Free. Remember to share it when we're done. And again, please, I'm putting it in one more time in the comments. See you there tonight in about 25 minutes. God bless. Godspeed. Have a fantastic evening.